Hi, I'm Phyllis from southernfrugal.com. Today we're going to make some curtains. Now there's not going to be much making to it because I've already gotten the panels. Now the panels were made, what I'm going to do is just let it be a swag to one side and I'm going to put bullion on it. But here's the green. I call it Martha Stewart green. Anyway, the curtains in the master bedroom, the drapes, are made out of this material, and they're not lined or anything, but it's 100% polyester, which means you can wash it and dry it. And it's sort of a knobby kind of material. So anyway, I made these short panels to just go to the bottom tip of the window upstairs in the dressing room. And this was 5 or 6 years ago. And then I decided I didn't like them, that I wanted more sheer curtains up there because you can't really see in that window at all. And there's only one window in the dressing room and I wanted it lighter in there. So I didn't use these. Now the other day I actually stapled one panel onto my little desktop and was going to use that, but then I decided I want to use them for curtains at the window. So can you see my desktop? Where it's actually a little table. Let me show you. I did it the same as the chair because I had enough of that fabric to go ahead and cover the top of the table too. So that freed up the panels. So I've got 2 of them. And what I'm going to do, and I won't videotape this because I don't think y'all need to watch me sew on the sewing machine. What I'm going to do is on one side, I'm going to just start up under this little part where the curtain rod's going to go and just stitch some of the bullion on there and on the bottom and then swag it back so it's half swag. Y'all know, well, anyway, I'll show you when I get them up. All right, so that's the material for the curtains. This is the bullion I'm going to use right there, and it's been all crumpled up in the bag for probably 10 years. So it'll straighten out though once you know it's hanging up. But anyway, so there you go. That's what it's going to sort of look like right there. And I think this color is kind of the opposite color of the wall, but it's sort of the same hue. Can y'all see? I think it's going to go well in here. And I'm going to leave the little matchstick type blinds up because I like that look with curtains in front of them. And this is a Victorian home, so I think this will look good to kind of dress up the office. And once I get through this, I am through with the office. I'm not doing another thing in here. But anyway, I want to show you the curtain rods. Hold on. Now I went down to Maxway. We've got a little Maxway kind of department store here in our little town. And Maxway is sort of actually, I think it's owned by Rose's 5 and 10 cent store, I think. But anyway, you can actually get stuff cheaper there than you can in Rose's. And, well, let me show you the picture of what it'll look like. Let's see. There. I was going to get just a plain rod, but then I decided, I saw these and I thought, well, you know, this is a Victorian home, so that would, you know, kind of dress it up a little bit. So that's, this little part's going to go on the end. Now, these cost $4 in Maxway. And I figure, you know, if you're looking up, you know, from standing in the floor, looking at the curtain rods, you're never going to know that these are, I think they're plastic, this part. I think this part's metal. Let's see. No, they're metal too. Yeah, it's all metal. Anyway, I think that will go really, really well. I think it'll kind of dress up the window and, you know, give a good look in here. So anyway, I'm not going to videotape when I'm sewing this bullion onto the panels because it's just a matter of sewing it straight down. And I'll tell you about the bullion. We had a factory, excuse me, I hit the camera. we had a factory in Union, South Carolina, which is probably an hour and a half upstate from where we live, maybe 2 hours, I don't know. And there was a factory there, and the factory might still be there, but the factory store is no longer open. But y'all know this stuff is like some of it as much as $10 a yard. So that with the big factory there, they had seconds, they call them, when something didn't quite work out, or maybe they had to stop the machine that was making them and, you know, put more string in or something. And so like this section here is a short section. Let's see, it's probably maybe 2 yards. But then in the bag, I've got mega yards, just on and on and on it goes. And there, see, so that's certainly enough to do one swag, and then I've got that much again. So what we would do, okay, wait a minute, I see a little place. This is probably what's wrong. See, that little thing came off somewhere in there, and they probably had to stop the machine, but it's certainly enough. See, that little thing came off somewhere in there. But anyway, once I make them and have it hanging up, all those little jingle bobs there will straighten up. But anyway, what I wanted to tell you about was we had a lot of factory outlets here in South Carolina. You could just get fantastic deals. And I made the drapes that are in the dining room. Now, in the dining room, we've got one of the biggest windows in the house is in the dining room in the middle, and it's got 2 windows on each side, so the whole wall is like a lot of windows. So to even buy the material retail to make the long drapes for that room would have been many hundreds of dollars. So I ended up going to one of the factories, and this one was in Carlisle, South Carolina, and got the material for I think $1 a yard. And so that worked out really, really well. And back then you could just get really super deals. Now the material you would be buying would either be, it wasn't in one long bolt, maybe they had to break the bolt, and so maybe you couldn't get but say 6 yards running straight out of it, or 3 or 4 yards maybe. And so they like to have it, you know, when they sell it to the stores, it has to be one big bolt of mega yards. So any little minor thing might be wrong, and I have never bought material that was seconds that I could even tell what was wrong with it, you know. So anyway, this is a really good way to get really cheap fabrics. Now the fabrics are real nice, they're not cheap looking. But I don't know, the factory outlet in Carlisle closed, and then in Union is where I got this. They make all the bullion, probably one of the biggest bullion companies in the whole country is my guess, because they were really big. You could get any kind of bullion your heart desired, any color. It was just great. And so here's my little story on this. So I'd gone up there and gotten a bunch of stuff, and one time I happened to be up there in the afternoon, and so I was, you know, looking all around, and one of the sales girls hollered out something. I don't even remember what it was, and there were probably about 5 people in that little outlet beside the factory, where it actually was right behind the factory, connected to it. And so everybody sort of went into this other room, and I thought, well, I wonder what they're doing. So I went in there, and so I asked one of the ladies that worked there, I said, well, what's getting ready to happen? I couldn't understand it. And she said, well, they're getting ready to bring out the leftover stuff, I forgot they had a name for it, on the bullion, and they just do a grab bag, and it's 50 cents a bag. And I said, oh. And so, sure enough, the girl came out in this big cart, big plastic cart, pushing it. I mean, it was big, maybe 2 feet wide and about 5 foot long, totally full of plastic bags. And so the lady told me, she said, now just go stand by the table, and when she dumps them out, you just grab whatever you want, whatever bag. And so we all stood by the table, and everybody grabbed, and I didn't get a single bag. And I was like, wait a minute, I didn't get anything. So the lady said, well, don't worry, they'll be bringing out more in a few minutes. So sure enough, in a few minutes, they brought out another one. I thought, okay, I'm going to get smart now. I'm taller than all the women that were there to be doing the grab bag, and my arms are longer. I should be getting at least a couple of bags. So sure enough, they came out, and with my long arms, I could reach all the way into the middle of the table, and I just grabbed me about 6 bags, boom, boom, boom. And a couple of people didn't get anything that time. So then the woman said, okay, now we all must, play fair. And I was like, play fair? They didn't play fair with me. I didn't say that, but I was thinking it. So anyway, after it was all over with, I had all these bags of stuff because they actually brought out a third thing. And anyway, this is part of what I got. Each bag was about, bigger than that, about that big, about as big as a regular garbage bag would be, and it was clear, you could see through the plastic. And so after we got through and I was taking all my stuff to the car, one of the gentlemen that was in there approached me, and he said, well, would you like to get rid of some of the bags you got if they're not all what you wanted? And I said, well, I don't know, I just didn't know how everything worked. And he told me he owned a store in Atlanta that sold the bullion and material. And what he did was come up to the factory when they have this, whatever day they do it, the grab bag thing. And so he actually bought some from me. Of course, he paid me more than 50 cents a bag, right? He did. And so I kept, I think, 4 bags of it. So a bag wouldn't necessarily contain like all this kind. There might be several other kinds in the bag. But I found out what ladies were doing was they actually take this apart. See that string right there? And they do things like crochet rugs with them and make beautiful things. Some women take them apart and do the crocheting, or I forget what you call that, where they make the real pretty flowers and everything. It's real thick. And that's what they were doing, and doing real fancy embroidering and all that. So it was a good deal when it lasted, but I think probably both mills, the one in Carlisle and the one in Union, moved to Mexico. They went south. And, cheaper labor, of course, and now, if they hadn't gone before, they'd probably go now because of Obamacare. But anyway, we kind of lost that in our state, all those really nice factory outlets. Now, in North Carolina, they have furniture outlets. And I had some relatives of mine that worked in some of the furniture factories. So you could get some nice furniture. Now, most of our stuff is antique, so I didn't really buy furniture like that. But I certainly knew people who did, and what they would do is actually rent a U-Haul truck or some type of big moving truck, go up there and just buy all the furniture they needed for their house. In fact, the youngest son, Ernie, and his wife did that, just take a big truck up there and bought all their furniture for the bedrooms, the living room, everything up there, much, much cheaper than in a furniture store, and they're still doing that today up in North Carolina. But, so, that's the story of that. So I'm going to go ahead and sew these curtains, and I will have to say, how are you going to do any better than a whole big bag of this for 50 cents? You can't do any better than that. And you just have to, might not be as long as you wanted, but in my case, because I'm making the shorter curtains, it will be fine. Alright, so we will see y'all when I get the curtains done. Now the hardest part's going to be putting up the curtain rods. I've already got the ladder in here and everything, because all the wood in this house is heart pine. So when you start drilling a hole, it becomes a nightmare because it's like drilling into steel. I kid you not. We actually have used the kind of drill bits that you use to drill into metal to drill holes. So anyway, I'll have to do that because Mr. Bucky's not going to be able to climb up on that ladder. But I'm going to get it done, and after I've gotten the curtains made and hung up, we'll be back and I'll show you what it's going to look, what it will look like. Okay, we'll be back. I'm going to need probably a couple hours. All right, we'll be back. All right, I finished the curtains. I did have to wait until it got sundown and later because I couldn't film the windows filming into the light. But anyway, I'm done for the night. We're getting ready to have some banana blueberry pancakes. That's my reward for getting these curtains done. All right, so here's a look. Well, can't really, let me back up over here so you can see them. There they are. And I got those little curtain rods for $4 a piece at Maxway this morning. I thought they went pretty well, and I think the green goes well with the rug, which is a little bit darker green. There's my chair that I did yesterday, and I went ahead and covered, of course, the top of my little table is what it is, but it's what I use as a desk. And that's that. That's where I upload all my videos. There's Mr. Bucky's desk. He's got his computer in with his in his recliner right now. But anyway, yeah, I thought these sort of look Victorian, which kind of goes with the house and the fan and the light. Yeah, so I'm very happy with it now. So now all we've got to do is probably get another lamp for Mr. Bucky's desk because that one's kind of wobbly. And that window right over there, the lower part of the storm window is broken. So the other thing is that I wanted to just mention the bullion. Of course, once we get a good cloudy, humid, rainy day, all this bullion will straighten out and fall out. Got to remember it's been in a bag all rolled up and jumbled up for about 10 years actually. All right, there it is. All right, we will see y'all next time. I hope you like this. I've decided I really like it. And let me go back in the den and see if I can give a view of both windows at the same time. Yeah, there you go. You can see both windows now. Yeah, I really like it. I think it looks good, and it helps with the acoustics too. And I do think the little window, the curtain holders do look a little Victorian. All right, and so if we wanted complete privacy, we could just take down the little swag that's holding it back, and you'll get complete privacy then. All right, we will see y'all next time.